I don't know what's going on over there at Screen Rant, whether they just create this stuff just so people can click on it, like I did, or they really don't have a clue as to what they're talking about. They see something, go with it, it makes sense to us, let's write up a story about it. Look at this. Star Trek is still cleaning up mistakes Picard's TNG Enterprise made. Really? What mistakes did they make? Okay, so the USS Cerritos, on Star Trek Lower Deck spends much of its time cleaning up mistakes made by Captain Jean-Luc Picard on Star Trek's The Next Generation. I'm going to say BS on that one. Captain Picard is often regarded as one of Starfleet and Star Trek's best captains, but that doesn't mean he never makes mistakes, because Starfleet's Prime Directive, which prevents interference in other cultures, Picard often had very little options when it came to helping alien worlds, while the Enterprise crew always tried to leave planets better off than they were when they found them. Starfleet rarely checked in on the planets after Picard left. Okay, let's be very clear about this. Star Trek Lower Decks, at the beginning of all this, wasn't really supposed to be taken seriously. It was supposed to poke fun at Star Trek. But so many people who've fallen in love with this series now rule everything that happens in it as canon. So we can have some of the most ridiculous events take place on this show, and they're going to be part of the Star Trek history now. But as for this particular article that Screen Rant is going on about, they basically want to go after Picard for an episode in Season 1, Symbiosis. Felicium was the drug that the Brekons used to get the Anarians addicted. They realized after a while that the virus or plague that was hitting the planet was curable, and they found a way to get over it, but they left the Anarians addicted to the drug, which left the Anarians in such a weakened state that they couldn't function. It's amazing how they got ships to fly in the first place, let alone the ships breaking down, and Picard and the crew had to come along to rescue the people.
What do they know?
They know that the Anarans no longer have the plague. They know that Felicium is no longer a medicine. So, of course, they are willing to give this shipment because they don't want to take the chance that the Anarans will lose their addiction. They don't want to lose their only... No. I'm bound by the rules of the United Federation of Planets, which order me not to interfere with other worlds, other cultures. If I were to tell them any of this, I would violate that Prime Directive.
In Star Trek The Next Generation, Symbiosis, Captain Picard acted with the best intentions of cutting off contact between the Amarians and their neighboring planet Brekka. He never broke off contact with them. He denied them access to parts that he originally promised them to help repair their ships that were falling apart. But he held off on giving them the parts after he realized what the Brekons were doing to the Amarians, the addiction. He couldn't give them the parts anymore. It was a Prime Directive issue. The Brekons provided the Amarians with a highly addictive drug, and the absence of this drug caused the Amarians to go through a difficult withdrawal period. From Picard's perspective, it would have been a violation of the Prime Directive to help the Amarians through this withdrawal period, or even inform them if it was coming. Instead, Picard simply left them to figure out their future for themselves. While things worked out in the end, Picard could have helped the Amarians avoid years of suffering.
Beverly, the Prime Directive is not just a set of rules. It is a philosophy, and a very correct one. History has proved again and again that whenever mankind interferes with a less developed civilization, no matter how well-intentioned that interference may be, the results are invariably disastrous.
Leaving a planet filled with addicted people who are about to go through withdrawal symptoms is probably a very hard thing that Picard had to go through. And to be fair about this, we don't really know how long it would have taken for them to go through the withdrawal symptoms, or how long the Felicium would have lasted, or how long it would have stayed in each Anarian system. The point here that I'm trying to make is that Picard, was absolutely right. They had no right to interfere with what was going on those two planets. And it was just going to be a mess if Picard had violated the Prime Directive. Now, when Friedman and her crew finally do show up on Anara, they find that the planet is not in any bad shape at all. In fact, the leader of the planet comes out to them and says, "Hi, how you doing? Oh, thank you, Starfleet, for what you did before. Goodbye."
Oh gosh, wow, Starfleet! It is so joyous that you've returned. I am Benir, the local magistrate. Welcome back.
I am Captain Carol Freeman of the USS Cerritos. I know that your people's first contact with the Federation had its difficulties, but we are here.
What? Oh, you're worried that things got bad when Picard cut us off from the Felicium.
Well, did they?
No, Picard was absolutely right.
Picard was right. Even the leader of the Anarians said, Picard was right. He did the right thing for us. Thank you for coming. We don't need your help. Have a nice day. Now, the article would go on to say that second contact, or rather following up with worlds that were first contacted by other starships, should be a new requirement. Okay, I'll give them that. But the title of this article here paints a whole different picture. Star Trek is still cleaning up mistakes Picard's TNG Enterprise made. There were no mistakes made. And to try and blame this on Picard when Picard did everything right and he followed the rules is ridiculous. Again, the idea of following up with a first contact is not a bad idea. But this article paints a picture of Picard making mistakes and the Cerritos coming along later to clean up the mistakes. That never happened. There were no mistakes made on Picard's part, and he had no first contact with the planet. He had contact with four people, from two different planets regarding a drug addiction that affected both worlds. Yes, but he did not interfere with the development of those planets. Well, that's my thoughts, my opinions on this article, and I really think Screen Rant was not right, but tell me your thoughts in your comments. Let me know what you think. And until the next time, my friends, God bless.